What the fuck is up, Cheddar Pot Nation? It's your boy Cheese, getting laughed at because I'm the master of ceremonies. I'm here with our good friends, Cole Michelson, Clay Burrell. What's up, boys? How you doing today?
What is popping?
Hey, Cheese.
Well, this is our immaculate return. This is the first episode we've done since, I believe, when we played the 49ers, the Vikings-Niners game, when you guys were at Cole's
Oh my
apartment.
God, dude,
That's
it's been a
last-
minute.
Yeah,
That's
the
bad.
last thing we've done that wasn't just like going live and getting picks.
Things
So,
were happening.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Very different
We're
time.
back.
Yeah.
We're so back right now. We've reached levels of we're back unbeknownst to mankind.
I feel it. I'm feeling the energy right now. I'm just happy to be talking sports with you boys again because it's been way too long. Not that we don't talk every day in a group chat, but now we're recording it. So that's the big difference. But not to waste any time because we've been gone for so long. We got to get back into the thick of it as soon as possible. So I want to jump right into the thing that we are all most excited about right now as far as our teams go. The Minnesota Vikings. We are 7-2, right? Wait, 6-2, 7-2.
7-2.
We're 7-2, and I know
We're 7-2.
I am such a good host for knowing our record. We're 7-2. We've got the Tennessee Titans coming up this week. What are the vibes right now? How are we feeling about the Minnesota Vikings' performance so far? How are we feeling about Sam Darnold's performance so far?
It's it's been a bit wishy-washy. I mean, you start the season out just full send. Everything is looking like we're the best football team of all time. Chef in the back. Sorry, got excited.
Yeah, he's got to take a
But-
shit probably.
Yep, that sounds good. But we looked like the best, like God's gift to football against, the Giants and then the Texans and
Niners.
against the Packers halfway through that game. Something
first
kind of
half,
clicked. I think they figured out, or teams started to figure out, Flores' blitz a little bit more. But I mean, honestly, we're still winning games, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. If Sam Darnold can gain that confidence back, and he's not forcing passes and throwing 3 interceptions a game, almost 4, then I think we're going to be just fine.
Could have been 5.
But it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
But as we saw from the Lions, throwing 5 interceptions means nothing.
Yeah.
Because you'll still win.
That's true.
Hey,
That's
But
true.
quarterback
I wonder-
wins do
okay.
equate to team wins, though. I just want everyone to make sure, because even though Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions, that's still a quarterback win for him.
Yeah, no, very true.
Just want the record to state that.
Putting on my tinfoil hat here, do you think there is any world where other teams, when they were about to play the Vikings, reached out to Green Bay and were like, hey, what did you see? What made you figure out the blitz? And Green Bay being, they're division rivals and we want them to lose, them telling them, because it's not their own scheme, right?
That's a good
hey, cards on the
question.
table.
I mean, I don't really
'cause I don't know.
understand
That's
a
how
really good question.
the NFL world works, but I would assume that if that was the case, the Packers would probably answer to everybody but the Lions.
Yeah.
Because,
If anybody, if there's any insider information being traded at all, I can't imagine it's happening at all, but I feel like it would have been with McVay and KOC.
Yeah, maybe.
They know each other very well. Maybe he was like, hey, maybe they chatted a little bit about what are you seeing out there? Because we should have won that game. We easily should have won that game. I mean, Rams, they're a damn good team. They're underrated, but kind of a bummer. But I don't know. It's a good question.
No, I mean, it's like I said, tinfoil hat. It
Yeah.
could be.
No, and
complete
I think that
tomfoolery,
opens
but-
a really a kind of a can of worms in the situation we can talk about.
Oh, were you talking about other teams besides the Vikings chatting?
Well, because we talked about
Oh,
how
yeah. Clay got
that second
confused.
half of the.
I thought you were talking about I thought you were saying like KOC
hey,
reaching
guess
out.
what? This is how
Yeah.
you beat our defense. Thought you wanted to know.
No. I mean that second half of the Green Bay.
I was thinking
game,
the opposite actually.
It seemed like they kind of figured out our defense,
Yeah.
and then from that moment forward, it really, aside from a couple bad teams that we've played, like the Jaguars and the Colts, it seems like other
Yeah.
teams
Colts are
have
good.
kind of had our number on when they're playing offense, and then
I just
trying
think
to-
that they watch how the other teams succeed against our offense.
It's
and
probably
figure it out
film.
from
Yeah,
there.
probably
Yeah.
most realistically, looking at the routes that other teams are running that gets through our secondary and in the blitz. So, anyways, I just thought that was interesting. So,
No, you actually kind of reminded me of one of my like biggest pet peeves when it comes to just like watching football, and specifically like participating in a community of like one team, whether it's online or in person or whatever. But it's so funny because every NFL season is very much the same. You know, teams will get on hot starts, and then more time of their games are recorded and more film is developed, and then teams start to slowly be more prepared for that. And fans are always like, oh, fuck, we're so fucked. Like, this is the worst thing that could happen. We're not good anymore. But it's just how the sport goes. And people forget all of these teams and all of these coaches and all these players are at the same level as our team. Like, we are not the end-all, be-all of being good at football. So when, you know, especially in that Rams game, when we weren't getting pressure on the quarterback and, you know, the defense was being a little bit exposed, everyone was kind of like, oh, we're washed, this, that, and the other, it's over. But it's just, it's how the game goes. So the tinfoil hat thing, it could be true in a sense. Maybe that's how teams are figuring out B-Flow's defense a little more. But in the reality, I think it's just the natural progression of the way like the NFL goes and week to week. And I think right now, at like past the halfway point, is when teams start to like switch up what they've been showing. So this, I guess, all to say, don't be sad if you're a Vikings fan right now because our defense isn't, you know, killing it the way they did the first couple of weeks. I mean, you could say we did against the Jags, allowing only 7 points, but you know, ebbs and flows. We'll be fine. Ebbs and flows.
Ebbs and flows. If there's anyone that can figure out trying new things on defense, it's Brian Flores. So
that's very true.
It's, you know, it's not like we have some guy that inherited a really strong defense and like a specific system, and that's been figured out, and then now he has to try. Like, this is a guy who created that for our team, and now he can do something different. So I guess really high level, my thoughts on the Vikings. We were supposed to be bad this year. So I've enjoyed watching it. I've enjoyed watching us win games. I think at the very least, there's a lot of great things that we're seeing that is promising for the future as we move forward a little bit and kind of figure out, you know, our team, get other acquisitions. I'm still rooting for Darnold. I think, you know, there's people who have bad games, and good teams find ways to win bad games, especially when their quarterback's not on. You know, there's been cases like that all over the league this year where quarterbacks haven't played well, but their team kind of carried them through it. But there's definitely a little concern with him. I mean, man, some of those throws were frustrating, not because they were interceptions, but because when you watch it back on replay, and I get it. I'm not a quarterback at that level. Like, I know you scan, and sometimes you'll miss people, but it seemed like almost every interception there was a safe pass, and it wasn't like these were, you know, do or die time. Like, specifically the first interception in the red zone, Aaron Jones is clapping and he's cutting across and he's got all this space, and you know Aaron Jones will run it for another 5. And it seemed like Darnold was looking in that direction. Maybe he missed him, fair enough. But then again, a good quarterback doesn't really miss wide open passes all that often. So that aside, the team does look really good. Obviously, we have really great weapons on offense. We have great weapons on defense, and I believe in our coaching. So I think we could still potentially, you know, win a couple playoff games. Maybe even win the Super Bowl. I don't know how confident I feel about that, but I could see it. I wouldn't be shocked after seeing how they played this year. So
they don't say defense wins championships for nothing. I mean, I truly believe that if you have an elite defense, you can have an okay quarterback and have some great weapons elsewhere, and you're gonna go far. 2017, that's what it looked like for us. I mean, you also saw it on the other side, mirror flipped with the Jags. I mean, you know, Blake Bortles wasn't ripping it that year. He was good, but dang, I mean, that's not like an elite quarterback by any means. So, you know, I think as long as you have that piece on defense, you're going to do really, really well. And these guys have looked awesome, from Van Ginkel to, you know, Cashman. Oh, my goodness.
You just got ginkled.
Yeah, dude, I'm ginked up, bro. I swear to God. I'm so ready. No, it's we've looked awesome. If we can tighten up the secondary a little bit, we'll be fine. But back to what you said earlier, we were projected to go 8-8 this year at very best.
Yeah.
So one more win and we're already there. And we're just a little over halfway through the season. So I think we're going to be just fine. Whatever happens, it's been a hell of a season already. I think we could potentially go NFC Championship with this.
I just want them to do better than their last couple of 5-0 starts, which I think were like 7-9 or 7-10. So we already got to 7 wins. If we can get to 10 wins, I'd be like, okay, I feel a little bit better about this, you know. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, we all pretty much predicted that. We all pretty much predicted at the beginning of the season around that 10 mark.
Yeah. I think 10 was maybe the lowest. So, well,
Yeah, that's right. We went through the schedule.
You could call us homers or you could call us optimists. I think we just know ball. That's purely
probably
it.
both.
Ball knowers.
Yeah.
Probably all three.
This is like what I said earlier, though. Like, when you specifically watch one team and you hyper-analyze that team, it's so easy to, like, pick flaws out and whatnot. But to anybody else who's watched maybe one Vikings game this year, maybe 2 with the primetime game, I think they're all very surprised because they haven't watched this team grow into what it is like we have. Like watching pieces on defense like Josh Metellus, watching Ivan Pace go from undrafted to now one of the leaders of our defense. Byron Murphy
Cashman.
Jr. Yeah, Cashman, obviously we didn't have. Sorry, my cat really wants to play. And I knew he'd pick right now to do it. So if you hear a wood dowel hitting wood floor, that is his toy. But we were watching all these pieces sort of like come to fruition now that like we had Brian Flores last year. It wasn't necessarily enough for us to get over losing our quarterback and win, but like we saw flashes of greatness. And this year it's really all come to fruition, like I said. And we saw it coming where a lot of people did not. So ball knowers, here we are. But a couple things off what you guys said. Yeah. Las Vegas had us projected at 6.5 wins this season. That was the over/under.
We already beat it.
Exactly. That was, at the beginning of the season. So we've already beaten it with X amount of games left. And that's really impressive. And then we haven't even had Cashman the last 2 or 3 weeks.
No.
Yeah, he shuts down the run big time.
Yeah,
for
and
us,
he's
so.
been. Where's the green dot? Like he's the guy. So like with
1 and 2
all
without
that
him.
said, I think the Minnesota Vikings are like the anomaly of this NFL season.
Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah, I agree.
And it doesn't feel like it did 2 years ago where we were the outliers, barely winning games. It's a lot better off, Granted, it's been a little rough the last few weeks where we should have trounced these teams, and we're not able to even find the end zone for whatever reason. Against the Jags, obviously we know the reason happening, but
That was tough.
yeah. But I think really it's just about getting these guys back together, play a few more weeks, and then we'll find that spot that we were in at the very beginning of the season again.
Hopefully so.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hawkinson's back too. Just signed a great left tackle.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say about that Jags game, obviously, should have scored more points. 2 of those interceptions that were thrown by Darnold were caused by penalties that weren't called, so we're not going to get surprised by penalties not getting called. I don't want to blame Sam Darnold fully, but again, not super well advised throws.
Yeah.
But that game just shows you how you can never underestimate any team in the NFL, whether you think they're playing like shit or not. This is a team full of professionals. This is a team, especially Jacksonville, coached by a man who's won a Super Bowl. Like, no matter what their record looks like, no matter how easy it is to like clown on them on Twitter, every team you play is an NFL caliber team. So I think winning 12-7, kind of embarrassing, but a win's a win. At the end of the day, no one's going to look back at our record and be like, oh, wow, they don't deserve this 12-5 record because they couldn't beat Jacksonville. We beat them. That's all that matters.
That's what I was saying. They were saying that about us 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. They were saying that we didn't deserve this record. They were saying we were the outliers. We're going to get trounced. Yep. Kind of sucks that we did lose that first.
It's all about the the history of it, because they're saying that because we're the Vikings. Yeah. Whereas if you look at KC this year, look, I agree that they deserve all the praise because 15 in a row, they're trying for the three-peat, one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game, one of the best coaches, great defense, all this good stuff. But a large majority of their games have been one-score games. But you don't hear very many people going, you don't hear many people going, oh, they didn't blow them out, so that means they're bad. And the Vikings, sure, there might have been some moments of weakness in that 1 year, but I mean, people would take every opportunity to call us phonies. Now, to be fair, we lost in the
Kirk
first
Cousins
game.
is our quarterback. Super easy. And we
Yeah.
also aren't coming off 2 Super Bowl wins or 3 in the last 5 years, so that's
Right.
a little different.
We haven't proven it.
Yeah,
like
that's a
they
great
have.
point that you made, though. I think that's why we are only a Minnesota sports podcast, because if we took the time and energy to look at the league all the way around, we would probably want to shoot ourselves because it's exhausting.
Yeah,
There's so much going on and so many shitty fans for each franchise. So if nobody has anything else to say, I have one more question on the Vikings, and we'll move on. All right.
Yeah, that's it for me.
Yeah, so I think we've broken down enough about this regular season, and Cole, you already kind of hinted at this, but do you think this Minnesota Vikings team, 2024 to 2025, is capable of winning the Super Bowl? Not just going to it, but winning the Super Bowl. Are they contenders?
I think it depends on the matchup. I think to your point, Cheese, any day, any team, these are some of the best athletes to play this sport. Any team can win on any given day, right? Mm-hmm. So, sure, there's a ton of matchups we could pull that seem favorable, and we'd still lose. But I think it might depend on the matchup, right? I know people.
Sorry, go ahead.
Just I would hope for not KC. I hope the Bills or someone knocks them down because they just seem kind of infallible right now. They just don't seem to make all too many mistakes. I mean, they make mistakes, but when it's time to close the game out, I just heard a statistic, and this may be completely wrong, but that in the fourth quarter when they've been trailing, the Kansas City defense has not allowed any points this year. That's incredible to keep their team in the game, right? Yep. So, I would rather us play if we get to the Super Bowl or really any of the steps along our playoff run. I just hope that we get teams that are kind of similar to the Vikings in the sense that they can play really good, but then they can just have a bunch of mistakes or not show up one day or whatever it might be. Yeah. I think we stand a better chance there. As far as can we win the Super Bowl, absolutely. I think any team that's in the playoffs can win the Super Bowl. Do I think we are labeled contenders? No. I think there's other teams that I think would have a better chance, a better probability of winning it. But if we get to the Super Bowl and if we win it, I'm not going to – I mean, I'll be amazed and I'll be excited, but I'm not going to look around, completely surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll try and keep it shorter, but I think
Too long?
No, it was perfect. I just wanted.
Yeah, they can do it.
I just wanted to say that. I think it's it's about the matchup, but it's also about the path. If season ended today, we're playing the Cardinals, I believe. So yeah, we could easily, not easily, but I think we could beat that team. They look really damn good lately, by the way. Kind of scary. Mm-hmm. We're gonna find out Thanksgiving weekend, but I think we could definitely beat them. Then what? We'd have a mid team in that area, probably the Falcons and then the Lions. I mean, dude, let us at the Lions one more time, dude. I really hope that it doesn't come down to them resting their starters week 18, because I really want to see that matchup again before we go back to the playoffs. With that being said,
if the Vikings put their foot on the gas, the Lions will have no choice but to start their starters.
Honestly, I could absolutely see us catching back up to them where
Me too.
It just comes down to that one game. And I'm not done talking. You heard him breathe in, right?
Baby.
You heard him breathe in. I heard the inhale. Anyway, no, so to answer your question, yes, I absolutely believe that we could win the Super Bowl if we get there, just because the whole NFL is wide open. Don't do it. Don't do it. The NFL is very much wide open. The Chiefs they got to lose at some point, right?
Chiefs
Chiefs.
The Chiefs is the Chiefs, man.
It's crazy how damn they just don't seem like they should be winning these games, and all of a sudden they come back.
Coaching, man.
Kind of reminiscent of that 22 Vikings team, but a little more dominant. Coaching. So I think that we could do it if we get there.
Yeah, I hear you. And I also agree. I think this is a team that could win the Super Bowl. But I think we've shown what our weakness is, and it's turning the ball over, as always. when we make bad mistakes, when we turn the ball over, we barely beat Jacksonville. You know,
We can fix that up.
Sounds like another team I know right now that's turning the ball over a lot.
and we'll get there. Don't worry. But I guess because I can see a world where a lot of different teams win, especially right now. You know, a lot of time left, a lot of ball left, a lot of injuries still could happen. But I would say, I guess, who would you fear the most, like on the way to the Super Bowl in the NFC? And then I guess Cole already said the Chiefs, but like, who would you fear the most in the Super Bowl? Because I'm going to stick with the Lions. You know, playing them in Week 18, whatever. Playing them in the playoffs, different story. You know, I would not want to see them.
Yeah, I think for selfish reasons, really losing to Packers, I don't think the Bears will make it, but Lions. Divisional opponents, because we know a lot of those fans, because a lot of them will live in Minnesota or be in a bit, but that chip on the shoulder, oh my gosh. So, as far as like a Super Bowl matchup, man, I know they're obviously one of the best teams right now in the league, but I'd be really scared of the Ravens.
Yeah.
I think the Ravens would be really lethal.
Though our run defense would do, I think, pretty well against Derrick Henry, as opposed to a lot of other run defenses.
Yeah, I think for me the biggest fear would be, you know, that quarterback Lamar has so much threat capability with the rush. There. So when we do
Impossible
drop the
to
pass
sack.
in coverage, that would be really, really frustrating. That's just going to be one of those games where I'd be screaming at the TV if we're missing tackles. But I don't know. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter who we draw because we're going to have to win. So and it just depends if we show up, and if we get prepared.
Amen, brother. Amen, brother.
NFC, I mean, dude, any divisional opponent, it looks like it doesn't look like the Bears are going to get in at this point. I mean, we still have a lot of ball left, but, Bears suck. but I think that would
about the whole league. This is why we don't talk about the whole league. We go forever about talking about just the
no, but it would absolutely suck. I mean, but the Lions, like, I would understand. Like, they're an awesome football team. Dan Campbell's that guy. Packers would hurt more, but I think the one that would sting the most in the playoffs, we lost to the Falcons.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, good point.
Losing to Kirko Chains in the playoffs, that would hurt more than any, in my opinion.
That matchup's not far either, and it's a couple weeks.
Right.
Kirko coming back to West Bank, so we'll see. We'll see how we fare.
Those two teams, I'm pretty sure it's week by week, or we're gonna play the Cardinals and then the Falcons, if I'm not mistaken. So those are two teams that we could very realistically see in the playoffs first round.
It's it's time. When you talk about like, are we capable of going? These are the matchups you have to like show your strength and show if you're capable. So, unless anyone else has something to say, I'd love to move on. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Cool. So now moving on from one team that has a hard time handling the ball to another team that also has a hard time handling the ball. We're talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves. They are currently 6-6. Not off to a hot start. Yeah. Appropriate. Coming off back-to-back losses to the Portland Trailblazers, who are a team a lot of people did not have any faith in to be, one, competitive this year, two, let alone two, like beating a team that was labeled as a contender, coming off a Western Conference Finals appearance where they were a little gassed out, but still won a game. People forget that. Obviously, a lot has happened. There was a big trade right before the season started. Not just a big trade, but once again, the Timberwolves were involved in one of the biggest trades in the offseason. And so far, it's looking like the team is having a hard time handling the transition. I think there's a lot of reasons why we are where we are, but the biggest reason is, we got almost a whole new team. A lot of the glue guys are gone from last season. No Kyle Anderson. That's been tough. So just like it's been a rocky start. But I want to hear from you guys. I would love to know, like, based on what you've seen, what you've watched, what do you think, like, is the reason for this, like, slow, awkward, clunky start that the Wolves have had? Because there's been some glimmers of good stuff, been some glimmers of great stuff, but a lot of glimmers of bad stuff, turning the ball over.
Honestly, I think a lot of it has to do with the timing of the Cat trade. It was at the very end or trail end of the offseason.
They were already in
And then-
training. They were already in
Yeah.
preseason training. Yeah.
So at that point, it's like, okay, he's gone. He's one of the biggest leaders on the team. Was he not the longest tenured player on the Wolves at that point?
At that point,
So-
and like since like I don't know,
By a long shot, too,
Ricky
right?
Rubio, maybe. Yeah, it was the
Yeah.
last time. Yeah.
So then it's like, all right, so one of your main leaders is gone.
Face the franchise.
Turn it over. Yeah, basically. And it's right before the season starts. I think it's going to take a lot of time for them to figure out the chemistry, figure out their identity, I guess, if that makes sense. And obviously we want Ant, and everybody wants Ant to be that face of the franchise. He already is. But, to put the team really on his shoulders, where you had two guys doing it before, and now one of those is gone. And we didn't like the trade at the beginning. I mean, it makes sense, though, that it was honestly, it still looks like an even trade because we got a lot of ball left, but...
And the Knicks aren't
I think-
necessarily winning either. Like, Cat's playing
Yeah.
well, but they're not winning like people were expecting them to.
They're probably dealing with the exact same thing,
for
honestly.
sure,
So
for
I
sure.
think it's just going to have to do with time. I think time is going to heal the wounds, I guess, if that makes sense. But that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'll echo that. I think by far the biggest reason for why this team has started off how they started off is just chemistry. You bring in, these two new players for Cat, and Randall was supposed to fit in at the number 2 spot, and I at first did not like his play. He's grown on me. I think actually in this little Blazers series, I know he made mistakes, and there were definitely moments where I was like frustrated, but I think he showed up better than a lot of the other players at times. But it's just tough because like on paper or with stats and analytics, you can go, okay, these numbers look the same. He plays the same type of role. We can fit, but that's not a substitute for actual play, being on the court, the actual practice and just chemistry that players develop over time. When Cat left, it wasn't just like, everyone like said that he left because he was a good player. After he left, there were so many things on like the Timberwolves subreddit and in the news, just like about his impact in the community, the friendships. So like you take a player like that out of the team and bring in new players. Yeah, the chemistry just on the court's going to take some time, but like you kind of take out a little bit of the fire, a little bit of the soul of the team too by doing that. So look, I know we initially did it to save some money essentially in the long run, just kind of work with our cap issues, but to me, it's a frustrating move because I'm looking at a team that has shown really good poise, really good chemistry. They made it to the Western Conference Finals. Forget about the money for a minute. Run it back one more year. Let's try and run it back. And they chose a different route. And I know they have their reasons, but without a doubt, the reason is the chemistry and the new players. And I just also think, bag skate. I think we just need to make these guys have a little more urgency because some of these dudes have been playing really lazy at times. I've seen some really, really bad unforced errors, right? Just throwing away the ball, just throwing it away. Like the first game of the Blazers series, there's just an inbound pass. It was just a miscommunication, but it's like, oh my gosh, take a moment, look for the open man. But I digress. I think they'll turn it around. I think he's right. Time will heal these wounds, but man, it's just a big shakeup for this team. So.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you guys said. Last night especially, but like both these games from the Blazers series, it's just been like some of the most frustrating basketball I've watched them play since Chris Finch took over. And a reminder, when Chris Finch took over, we were not very good. Like it did take us time to grow from there, but I don't know if it's necessarily like the Randall and Devo integration that's causing the issues, but they just look so unmotivated and uninspired. Like you're talking about, the turnovers have always been a problem for us, but it's like one of those things that they always talk about, like we're working on getting better. You watched in the playoffs, had a couple games where turnovers lost us games, in that Dallas series especially. And then you come back and you play a team that not necessarily is not talented, but is not as experienced as you. And you let them fucking run you out of the gym back-to-back nights. Last night was a little bit closer up until the end, but that like last night's game was exactly what was not happening last year. Like down the stretch, giving up important plays, not clamping down on defense, like just doing everything the opposite way. We were so excited last season the way it started because we were beating these really good teams, and like our schedule hasn't necessarily been easy to start so far, but when you get a back-to-back Portland series, you have to come out with one of those, you know?
Yeah.
But, and even Grady and Jim Pete were talking about this on the broadcast. It's like, you know, especially a younger team with a chip on its shoulder coming in, like, we're playing Anthony Edwards, who's like the face of the league. He's Michael Jordan. Oh, they just came off a Western Conference Finals appearance. Like, let's show them what we got. And the Wolves need to understand that and come with the same energy. Like, they're trying to obviously we're in we're in Portland, but it still felt like one of those situations where Portland's like, we're gonna come into your trap, we're gonna take over your trap. You know, like, and you just can't let a team do that to you, especially if you're trying to be contenders. So I'm just frustrated, and I do think these are issues that can be resolved eventually. But like you said, Cole, like, you're watching things happen. You got half the screen is being recorded on your TV, and you can just tell there's fucking guys on the other side of the court with their fucking thumb up their butt, sitting there waiting for something to happen instead of, you know, when a turnover happens, sprinting back. Like last night that happened where a turnover happened. Rudy got the stop on a 3-on-1 fast break, and no one ran back with Rudy. So then the Blazers just rebounded, put it right back up. So it's just stuff like that. Not making the hustle plays. It's starting to, I think, really affect the confidence of the team. So hopefully,
A lot of mental, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully they'll be able to overcome it because, you know, the talent's there. And let's not even talk about the shooting percentage of the last two games. Atrocious.
Yeah.
I've never seen a rim so small for a team, man. Like, could not buy a bucket. So
Was it 17.9%?
17 from three? Yeah.
From
and
three.
this is a team that's been trying to identify themselves as a three-point shooting team. Big part of why we brought in Devo. He's also been, you know, having a tough time. He had a couple good games to start, but he's been having a tough time.
Surprising to see.
Yeah, and again,
He'll get it, though.
We're 12 games in. Yeah, we're 12
Honestly.
games in, but this is something that the trending of this needs to change. Otherwise, fans are going to start freaking out. I'm trying to remain calm about it, but wow, it is not easy.
Yeah, they're playing like they feel entitled to be a top team again. Like they're playing like they're like, oh, we'll be a top team, and that
We don't have to
confidence is
try.
important. Yeah, it's the confidence is encouraging, but not when your effort doesn't reflect it, right? So they're playing like they feel like they're a shoo-in already because, oh, we made it to the Western Conference Finals. We're going to make it that far again and more. And it's like, this is a clean slate, dude. You got to, especially with new players. I guess the one encouraging thing is, like you said, our shooting percentage was really bad in the Blazers series and has been bad. And they also, dude,
The Blazers shot over 50% from three in the first game. Unheard of.
I started laughing towards the end. I was like, you just gotta laugh. I mean, they kept draining these threes, high contested threes.
Yeah.
Players that don't shoot threes were making threes, and I'm like, oh god.
Almost three buzzer beaters in that game. First quarter, almost second quarter, third quarter. Like, come on.
Yeah, so we'll see. I think there's time. Well, there is time, and I think they can turn it around. But we need urgency for sure with these guys.
Yep, ticking clock, man. Mike Conley's. You're starting to see him regress a little bit too. Like, who knows how much longer we're gonna have of?
I think it was his injury last year.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I have so many thoughts, but I don't want to spend forever on this. I do want to ask one more Wolves-related question, then move on to our final segment. Is that cool?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, do it.
God, hurry up.
That's not a real mic.
It's not real, Mike.
No, that's a fake mic.
Yes, it is. This is real. They don't know it's fake.
Is it?
It is a real mic, but it's not plugged in.
I was not plugged in.
So, you knew that, Clay. I already told you. So,
knee slapper.
my other question, and we kind of talked about it already, but how do you guys feel like Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo are fitting into the team so far? Because they're obviously, Randle's a much different power forward than Cat was, 'cause Cat's truly a center. And then Devo, you know, is kind of taking over that bench spot, sharpshooter kind of thing that we didn't really have before. So how do you feel like they're fitting into the lineup?
I'll make mine short because I feel like you actually have something good to say about this with Randall.
Do you not?
I don't put that pressure on me. I don't even know what I'm going to say.
Because I want you to follow mine up and squash mine because I know that you have something really good to say, like very good.
Don't put
It's
up
gonna be awesome.
expectations
Cheese,
like that. I
just
don't know what I'm
wait.
gonna say.
Whatever he says is gonna be like,
Oh my
Now
god.
I have high
Fantastic.
expectations for you.
so basically.
Oh god.
No, dude, honestly, it's like, it's too early to tell. Obviously, Dante is, he's not hitting the threes like we thought. He was supposed to be like the merchant from three, just the guy who was like, just our go-to, basically. And he's been struggling there. I don't know if it's from when I'm like looking away from the game and looking back, but I don't know what it is, but every time I look back, Randall just seems like he's not hustling. I don't know what. Maybe I'm just missing it
definitely
because
looks a
he has
little
some great
lost.
games. Yeah, he looks. There we go. That's a better word for it. Lost. He looks a little lost, but then he has some games where it's like, holy shit! I apologize for everything I said. You're playing. It's just I
was
don't know,
not
man. I
familiar
think
with
it's
your
too
game.
early to tell. So, if I could have Cat back, I would, for sure.
Yeah. No,
right
if we
now.
can turn back time, that trade would never
Yeah.
happen. No.
Right, but let's just see what happens. Let's see how it plays out.
Yeah, I'll say that for the same reasons that I'm saying give the Timberwolves time, let them cook as a unit, as a team. I will extend that same offering to the two guys, to Randall and
Two guys.
DiVincenzo. They might just need time. I mean, they're playing in a different offense. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
Basketball is basketball, so there's going to be similarities, but different coaching, different different minutes, different roles to an extent. So yeah, I'm going to say give him a little bit of time. There's kind of it was Anthony that said, like, after one of the first couple of games, he went to Randall and he said, just play your game, man, and we'll fit around you.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really good, and I think that's a great, Ant's really young, and there's a lot of, I love his passion, I love his energy, and just how he can go on a tear. But there's definitely some moments where I'm like, oh, he's gonna hopefully grow up a little bit with that. But that was a great leadership moment, and I think that's the best course of action for both of those guys is just, hey, just play your game, shoot your shots. And we'll figure out things around it, and if it's not working, we'll adjust. But you don't want to bring in new talent and then have them be scared to do what they've done. That's gotten them the name that they have.
Yeah.
So we'll see what
point.
happens. But man, I'm with Clay though. I mean, we brought in this guy to be the 3-point shooter. Has not been shooting very well. We brought in Randall to play that number 2 role, and he's done it at times. But there's been times he looks really lost. So time,
Yeah.
I guess.
No, you're right. Yeah,
It was fantastic. It was exactly as I thought it would be.
Clay could not have hyped that up any less. You're right. I think a little recency bias is coming into this because the first game Julius did not look good, but after that he was phenomenal. Him and Ant were averaging 20 plus points each for like several games straight. And then this Portland series happened. Let's not forget we did play Portland like last week and blew them the fuck out. So it's not like we're not capable of it. It is just like in any given kind of night thing in the NBA. Like it's gonna happen. You're gonna give games away. Back to back is tough, but I think last night and the night before it wasn't a good game for anyone. Those were not games you want to look back at unless you're Naz Reid. He was phenomenal in both games, especially
Defense was
Tuesday
rough
night.
though.
His defense, and that's something we can talk about a little bit too, but his defense is definitely, it needs some work, and he's, coming from a place where now he's truly the backup center, so he's got to kind of change the way he's playing defense, because a lot of times he'd come out onto the floor and either Rudy or Cat would be there, so he was playing power forward. So, but, we'll take the defensive flubs, if you will, and the fouls and the getting to spots late that he does, and we will take all of the magic on offense that he gives us, because it seemed like he's the only one who could consistently shoot the ball the last couple nights. I think last night was the first game Ant didn't have a 3, despite, he shot a lot of them, but they just weren't falling.
He had 24 points, right?
Yeah, something like that. He's always going to get his points. Like he's a bucket,
actually.
but yeah, it's tough. And, Julius, I don't want to be too hard on him right now, but the last couple games have been sort of emblematic of the reputation he has around the league of kind of being like just looking a little lost, and sometimes just kind of making decisions you wouldn't necessarily know how to rationalize. But again, I do think a lot of that is being in a new offense, not having a lot of time to get ready for it before the season started. So still give him time. Devo's biggest flaw for me, obviously the shooting hasn't been great. It will show up though. He's incredible. Even before he was with us, like I loved his game. I've met him in person too. We don't need to, need to talk about that. Have I never told you guys about when I met Jalen Brunson and Dante DiVincenzo? We don't need to get into it. I met them one time. I said, thank you guys for helping me.
You're fishing for a reason to tell the story. You might as well tell the goddamn story.
Thank you for helping my fantasy basketball team get fourth place.
Oh, wait, you did say this.
Yeah, I was going to say fake just like his mic.
This is real. This is real mic.
It's a real mic. No, I have heard this story, but that's actually awesome.
So, Dante DiVincenzo, close personal friend of mine. But the shooting is going to show up. I think the thing he needs to improve on the most is his driving kicks. Right now, he's, I believe, averaging 19% turnover rate on his driving kicks, which is like the highest in the league. And so he's just like, I don't know if it's the offensive scheme we're running where it's just like guys aren't looking to get open, but I swear to God, every time he drives and tries to kick it out, it's either deflected or it's turned over or it's, it's a bad pass. So if he gets a little bit better at that, because that really opens things up. When your three-point shooter drives, it's able to open the offense up a little bit more. And if he can fix that, I think he's going to be fine. I think he'll be fine. And he's going to do this thing. He's not going to have amazing games every time because he's a bench player. His defense will always be there. But he's going to, one of these nights, quote me on it, go for like 30. He's going to have a big game. It's going to happen. And that's why we have to continue to believe in him. And it will.
It needs to happen, dude. I mean, to summarize, with the entire Wolves season so far, just two things. More time, get some chemistry, get a few wins, get them confident, get the boys having some fun, and they'll figure it out together because obviously there's not a lot of chemistry there. 2, turnovers.
I love it.
Did I say less? That's it. Right? Less turnovers. It's been so bad.
We should coach.
We should coach.
Yeah.
Yuck.
All right. Let's move on to this very next and final category because we are actually getting a little long here with the time, which is fine. We're going to move on to the Minnesota Wild. I think Clay's super excited for this with the jersey. So this was a question that was submitted by a viewer of ours. He says, because we were like, hey, ask us wild questions. Goes, despite being in cap hell, the Wildy, I don't know what that's about, came out swinging and are a top 10 team in the league right now. Do we still try to win it all this year and make some moves by the deadline, or stick with the squad we have until next year? What do you guys think?
What's the Wildy? Is that like spelled with an E at the end?
Yeah, it's like wild with an E at the end, so I don't get it.
Weird.
This is definitely not one of our inside jokes.
No.
Yeah, what do you guys think? What do you guys think?
What do you think?
It's a good question. I mean, honestly, I think you stick with the boys because we don't really have a lot of capital right now. I mean, you could go get, but I also can't even think of like one position that desperately needs to be filled at this point. We're always in need of a center, but Marco Rossi's been playing his ass off. He's looking awesome right now. He's had a couple weird games for sure, but dude, it's gonna be another breakout season for him. I mean, last year was pretty damn good, but I think honestly, if there's somebody out there that makes sense, maybe go grab a center. Maybe, if there's another D-man, assuming that we don't stay healthy the entire year, because when the hell does that ever happen? Go get him. But at that point, I think we're fine the way we are. We're playing with a really good group of guys right now, and they're playing with a lot of heart. And that's what you like to see, because we were not projected to do well at all, and we're top 5. So I'll take it.
Minnesota.
Yeah, no, those are good points. Clay mentioned it. The fact is, there's no money. No matter how badly we would want to go and make a large trade deadline acquisition, we just don't have the money for it. And if we were to do it, we would have to trade not only prospects but also current roster players, and I don't really think that there's anyone on our roster we want to trade that's performing well, and I don't think there's any team that would want the players that maybe aren't playing so well. So as far as like upgrading the team, I think this is what we have, and that's totally fine. So these guys can absolutely do something though. And what I really, really love is, the reason that they were written off by so many teams is one, we're $20 million under the cap or something like that. Don't quote me. I don't know the exact amount, but a good deal, enough that you could bring in 1, 2, even 3 high-end quality players. So that's why we were written off, is that we have all this talent, but, we don't have all this money to go buy the extra players. What has happened is our young prospects that are playing phenomenally have essentially filled that void. So teams that have all that cap, they're paying for the market players, but we have the core players on our team, and then those young guns really playing. So that's why everyone's surprised. To be honest, I'm not. I mean, we were competitive last year. I think people additionally thought because we had one more year at cap hell that we would. No team will ever tank, but that maybe our team was going to kind of,
phone it
there
in.
wouldn't be, there might not be as much motivation, but they did an interview with Kirill and a bunch of other players, and they were like, no, we were pissed we fell short of the playoffs last year. They're like, we want to
It
win.
lit a fire in them. You can tell.
Yeah, they
oh
said,
my God.
And I love it. They're like, screw the draft picks.
Dude.
Let's go play if we have the talent, and they do.
Yeah.
And it's on the shoulders of our core guys like Mats and Kirill playing really, really well, and some of the other guys on our third line playing well. But then Boldy, Faber, Rossi, all these guys are playing great.
Good.
Olgren's been fine, but he's kind of unnoticeable at times. But that also can be a good thing, because if you're noticeable but not for the right things, then that's even worse, right? So, no, I think this team will keep playing well. I think John Hines has done an incredible job coaching. And I think
I'm shocked.
I think they just have a fire in them. They just wanted to prove people wrong, and they just. We said this about the NFL. Geez, these are professionals. Yeah, they get a paycheck, but there's not many players that last long in these leagues if you can tell that they're just quitting and staying. Right? They're there for the money, and that's it. And all of them have pride. They wouldn't have gotten to where they've gotten in terms of skills and their talents if they didn't care about the sport or didn't have passion. So yeah, these guys are for real. I think they're going to go through a slump. They will go through a slump because it happens to almost every team. But
Knock on wood. Knocking on
wood. But
It usually happens in March.
yeah, but they're looking
We'll
really,
see.
really sharp.
A couple things. I hope this doesn't step on the toes of any more fan questions you have there, Cheese. But I think, well, one, you mentioned Hines, bro. I did not like him at first. I think it felt more to me kind of like Daddy's new girlfriend. Like, why the hell would I like
I
her?
just didn't know anything about him.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you say. But honestly, it was okay at the end of last season. He was kind of dealt a shitty card. We look awesome. I'm really excited about that. So I respect to him. I'll give him his flowers there. But speaking of flower, that's awesome. Did you see that? You like that?
Yeah, I thought you
that was
might
awesome.
be doing that.
I did not do that on purpose, by the way. So
I don't believe you.
But no, Gus Bus, phenomenal season so far. Incredible start. Do you think, and actually this is a question for you, do you think that Gus Bus, playing with Flower for a few years at this point, learning from him has kind of made him into this potentially awesome goalie that he is right now?
Well, without a doubt, Flowers played a role in his development, and the same can be said for Jesper. I know we haven't seen a whole lot of him in the show, or much of his play at the NHL level for that matter, right? But they say one of the worst things you can ever do, kind of similar to a quarterback in football, is rush that prospect too soon. And the goalies are some of the most finicky, some of the most mental, toughness positions that you can play, and so you need to ease those guys in there. And so I love that Gus is playing well, because it does a few things. One, it just affords more time for Jesper to just get his bearings, get comfortable, adjust. This will be Flowers last year. I'm almost certain of it.
Yep. Everybody said
and
that.
then I would love to see Gus continue to play well, be the head guy, and let Jesper just, ease into it and do what he wants to do. So
I kind of didn't listen to a little bit of that, and I apologize. So No, I'm
Brave
not
of you to
sure.
admit.
Do you think, and apologies, the reason I said that is because apologies if you already touched on this. Do you think that we bring him in there for a little bit, the Great Wall of St. Paul, towards the end of the season or halfway through it, just for a few games, maybe like a road trip here and there, just so he can learn from Flower, play with Flower, like in an in-game scenario here and there?
I mean, maybe. I would imagine,
Or Gus.
Development camp. I mean, here's the thing. Gus is playing great. Flower is also good. And why rock the boat? So I think if things keep going how they're going, they're just going to stay steady. That's not to say. I mean, it's within the organization. I know. I mean, I don't know this for a fact, but I would be shocked if Wallstead is not, reaching out to Flower on things or picking his brain about stuff. I mean, that's one of the benefits of having a Hall of Fame Stanley Cup winning goaltender on your rosters. They can, impart knowledge and share those things. So, and there's been times in the preseason and last season where they were interacting and in practices and stuff. So that's all good stuff. But
I guess the B side of that question, what I kind of meant there is, last season they brought him up a few times. Do we see that happening again this year, or are we going to roll with it because we have this awesome tandem that we're rolling with now?
I think you roll with it.
Yeah.
Like I said, development is great. Any amount of time that a promising young goaltender could spend with a guy like Flower is invaluable. But I mean, just like the players and the team feel right now, that's tomorrow's problem. They just want to win now. And so if this team's rolling, I mean, I don't see why you would mess with moving around the tandem or doing anything, because they're focused on winning one game at a time. And I love it. And that's the best mentality for any sport, right? To succeed is you don't try to think too far ahead about it. You just take one battle at a time. So
Look at teams like the Jets and the Cowboys, like giving up everything you have to try to win now, and you don't win, you put yourself in some big trouble. So I think
big time.
Everything you guys have said obviously as someone who doesn't watch and know puck as much as you guys, I think, the worst thing you can do with this squad right now is to change it up, because they're winning now. Allegedly, the next few years we'll have more money. Why would you get rid of a good core that is winning without like crazy star power? I would say
don't buy, don't sell. No buy, no
just
sell.
Keep fucking going.
Stick with the boys.
Just keep going. Hell yeah, brother. All right.
One last thought I have, Cheese.
God, go ahead.
It's a very quick thought.
No, I'm just kidding. It's
Last
not my
thought
fault.
is we actually kind of have a really unique situation here, because for a lot of teams you have a lot of young, promising talent, but you don't have roster space for them because you're paying money to all these guys. And it's like, well, we can't sit the guy that we're paying $7 million for, even if he's not playing well. So this last year and this year are great because we're in the cap hell. It's actually it's a situation where it's like, well, whether you play good or poorly, you're playing. And that's really, really great for developing these guys. So I think this is going to be awesome. I think we're going to see who sinks or swims this year, and then we'll make the adjustments when we have more money. But maybe you don't. Maybe that money just goes to paying these guys more dollars on the contract if need be. So that's it. That's all I wanted to say on that.
I think that's a great way to put a bow on that. And the crowd goes wildy. All right. Well, before we get out of here, I wanted to just have like a fun little question that has nothing necessarily to do with like analyzing sports, and kind of more tailored to our fun little creative brains. We love jerseys here on Cheddar Pot.
Yes,
Big fans of design. I mean, look at what Clay's wearing. I bought this hat for a team that doesn't exist anymore because the logo is sick and the colors are sick. So I'd say we fancy ourselves a bit of like uni sickos, maybe.
We will have hour-long conversations over text about uniforms and how they can be better.
Yes. And that's exactly what we're going to do right now, but we're going to keep it short. So I wanted to ask both of you, and I definitely asked you this before already, so hopefully you have answers. In the voice message, Cole, in a voice message. He didn't listen. So
he doesn't listen to any voice messages.
Of the big four, we don't need to get into that. Of the big four sports, right? NHL, MLB, NFL, NBA.
Oh, big four.
What's a team you would like one or two teams you would love to see a new jersey design for. It could go logo too, or not even logo. Just jerseys. The ones you don't like, the current ones, you would like them to change. If you have an idea of how you'd like them to change, present it, but you don't have to. This is mostly just to shit talk some jerseys.
Yeah. I kind of wish you just would keep it to one league because my mind is going a million miles an hour right now trying to figure out.
Well, that's why I wanted to prep y'all.
So the question was what jerseys you would change and how you'd change it, or
if you have an idea of how you change it, you can provide that. But if you don't have an idea, you just say a couple. I'll start while you guys think because I have to think about this.
Thank you.
So I have two. The first one, and this should not come as a surprise to anybody, is the Tennessee Titans.
That was fine.
And you can go ahead if you want.
So bad.
Anybody who thinks the sword design on the shoulder pads looks cool is fucking dumb as shit and probably needs to get their eyes examined because I don't know what you're looking at. It is... You were gifted one of the coolest color combos in the NFL with that baby blue, that nice red, very simple white helmet, and then even the first Titans jerseys when they came out, garbage. And then they redesigned it to this nonsense. I get it. Sword, shield, Titan, whatever. You do not have to be so on the nose that you put a sword on the shoulder pads, all right? Here's my redesign. Go back to the Oilers. Just go back to the Oilers and do those jerseys. Tennessee Oilers, that's what I got for that. Cool. And then my other one is, and this is perfect, the Minnesota Wild. Yeah, that's right. I'm not changing the logo. Actually, what I would do is take what we have right now and just do the jersey Clay's wearing. As I just said, love this color combo. I love the North Stars iconography.
Yeah,
I think
Kelly
the Wild,
green.
Yes.
E fresh.
Kelly green and yellow, one of my favorite combos. I think the logo is fantastic. I just do not love the Christmas vibe you get from forest green and red. And I know they've kind of taken the red out a little bit. Bad. But it's just so Christmassy, and I've never liked it. Or if they even
never been a fan of the red.
Yeah, if they took the green out and went red and yellow, that'd be cool. Like it's just red and green together. It's giving Christmas. It's giving ho ho ho. I don't like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
That's good cheese. You know, some people like to, but most people remember those when we had like Pominville, the like the Christmas sweater. They were like all red with like green bucklers. Oh my gosh, just terrible.
Like the circle logo on it, right?
Yeah.
There was the circle and then the logo was in it.
I'll quickly. This isn't technically my pick, but I will quickly say I'm really hoping next year for the 25th anniversary of the Minnesota Wild, they finally do like an alt. I hope it's just a Minnesota cream wheat color with white and then the evergreen green. I think that'd be sick. Don't put any red in it. Get that shit out of there. I hate the red also. At times, like on the logo itself, I think it looks fine. But like it doesn't. It looks odd sometimes. So okay, that's my.
It's just too much.
Okay, I have no replacement for this. Just the Browns. They design all of it. Stupid fucking name. Those colors.
Your helmet's orange,
brown
dude.
And orange. Just get rid of it. Strip it. Sell it.
Not even brown.
Bring something else in. And then the other thing I was gonna say. You go ahead and do yours because I had one and I want to remember it and I can't remember it right now.
That's okay. All right.
But I will remember it.
All right. So you said the Titans better than I could have possibly done it. I just think that's the worst uniform I've ever seen in my life, to be honest with you. I mean, there's been a lot of them.
So bad.
I'm talking about just like standard home or away unis. I think their away unis the worst uniform I've ever seen. But despite that, quick one, Los Angeles Rams. Don't fix what ain't broke, man. You guys had an absolutely gorgeous jersey in like the Eric Dickerson days, like the 80s, 90s. Like, dude, up until he went to St. Louis, man, just so beautiful. Go back to that.
Not the St. Louis Rams, like navy and
gold.
No,
I'm talking about the old.
I don't
LA
even
Rams.
know what color.
It's like
It's the same exact colors,
now,
but there's. It's just so simple.
Yeah, the Rams have like this weird like it fucking looks like Blade Runner.
It was
font.
just their dark blue with like a yellow thing, and it wasn't like the new modern version with all like the hashes on it.
After, because I'm curious. To see,
dude, it's perfect. So don't fix what ain't broke with them. But
yeah,
the number one uniform, if I was getting paid to help them out or whatever, I would never do it unless that was the case. The Dallas Stars. The fuck is the matter with you?
Yeah.
All right, so
Talk
first
about
off,
fumbling the bag, dude.
You took some of the most beautiful uniforms ever. You inherited that shit. I get you can't be the North Stars anymore, so you have to drop the North. That doesn't mean you have to drop everything else. You could have had this, but you didn't. You went straight to green. And what is with the italic ass star? What is wrong with you? How do you live with yourself?
You know, they also.
How do you sleep at night?
They also copied one of the, as much as I hate to admit it, one of the greatest jerseys in all of the NHL, the Blackhawks. They copied the main body color with the white and black trim on the bottom and on the cup, and it looks so great. But
I don't know what to throw.
Why would you copy it though? I don't know. So I did remember.
I'm pissed.
man.
I
remember.
and so how I would fix it.
Yeah.
Just bring it back to simplistics. You have another sports team in the exact same city who does it perfectly. I will say that's the only thing that team does well, the Dallas Cowboys. Their jerseys, their uniforms have always been fantastic. It's literally just a star, nothing else, no weird italic bullshit. That's it. I would say just go back to simplistics or go forward to simplistics since you've never done it. And
Reject
that's what I have to
modernity.
say about the Dallas Stars.
Embrace
Yeah.
tradition.
Fuck the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, no, dude, and as much as I hate the Dallas Mavericks, I mean, you kind of got a theme going here with the white and the dark blue. I mean,
Yeah.
they could have done something similar, I guess. I don't know, but okay. Last thing.
It'd be so funny if you forgot
the
it
one
again.
that I remember is, and I'm picking this one because there is a good chance that they might change this around. The Utah Hockey Club. Come the fuck on.
Well,
And
they had like 2 minutes to figure it out.
I'm talking everything.
They went with Hockey Club.
I know.
I'm talking the name
decided
of it.
to do that.
I'm talking the style. Guess what? I like that style for college with just the letters going down. Not.
Oh,
in
I
the
don't know. Like
NHL.
Sunnyvale Trailer Park? Like Sunnyvale?
No, but like I'm saying I
I
like
hear
it for
you.
college. Like that's the aesthetic. But like when you get to the pros, you have a cool emblem and mascot. Usually, like
Sweater on the-
I don't
yeah.
like.
What about the old Pittsburgh jerseys?
You know that's cool
Well,
as
the
a
Rangers.
throwback, but I like their current jerseys more honestly. So
The Rangers
and I
have
really
it
liked
right,
it when it was
though.
gold.
The Rangers,
Agree to
like,
disagree.
they're
Okay,
always
but
gone classic.
that's so
Yeah.
iconic, and that's
Yeah.
been around since the beginning. So, and here's the other last thing, dude, the colors. The expansion
Yeah.
team before you, the Seattle Kraken, went like light blue. Theirs is more of a cyan,
Teal.
but light blue, teal,
Yeah.
with the navy, and the. What did the Utah Hockey Club do? The same fucking thing, dude. You're probably the last franchise aside from, they're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna refranchise. All the leagues now have 32 teams.
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful and it's good for matching up. But you have so many opportunities to pick a really cool color combination that you
read
haven't
the
been locked
name.
into.
And you know what
been the
Utah's known
Yeti.
for?
Super lame.
Could've been the
Utah's
Yeti.
known for their Red Rocks.
Mormons. Oh,
You know what color the team that they were last year was?
Soaking.
Were they red?
they're a maroon. But yeah.
So they were red. Yeah, they were
Dude,
red.
I think the
Why I
Utah
was
Red
tripping
Rocks
for a
would have been
second.
sick.
Yeah, of course
That
they
would've
were.
been so cool.
God, but damn it, dude. Can we give credit to
Fumbled
the
the bag.
best jersey I've ever seen in my entire life? Because we were just talking about terrible jerseys. Go back to last year for Utah. Those alts,
The
dude.
Coyotes.
Yeah, they were called like Midnight, maroon or something
Oh,
like that.
you're talking
There was,
about the
like,
Coyotes.
the Coyotes
Yeah, yeah.
strips, dude.
All right.
Yeah, dude,
God.
that old
Beautiful.
I'm not even gonna try and remember it because there's a term for
I can't remember
that,
the exact
that
name of it.
style of the coyote. Just it's a very
Like the
cultural
arts.
Yeah.
style, like art style. Yeah. But man, it's so cool, and I love like the blocking on the bottom with like the maroon and
Nope.
the green.
We are
Hey,
talking about a different jersey right now.
Yeah, that's an example where it's not red, but maroon and like the dark green looks really great with
Yeah.
like the black. But it's accented. It's not the main theme.
Yeah,
So, anyways,
it's smartly designed. Shout out to the Coyotes. Rest in peace, man. Talk
Yeah,
about
man,
having
we
one of the
feel
best
for you guys.
jerseys.
We were always
Honestly,
rooting for you, man.
I liked the newer logo too, just the coyote head. I thought that was cool too. And you took that and you gave us Utah Hockey Club.
Yeah.
And you gave it the same colors as the Kraken and also the Jazz
So
jerseys from like 2006, 2012. Like, can we lock in? Can
Yeah.
we?
I'll say this. I lived in Arizona for a couple of years. I was shocked how passionate the hockey fans are there. You wouldn't think because there's not much access. I mean, you have indoor rinks, but not many people are going to go and skate or play hockey, and they fucking love hockey out there.
Yes,
So
sir.
you have my condolences on that because that was so clean
This one.
too. Yeah, that looked really good.
Show the camera.
Yeah, but I feel so bad for them. It was a really great fan base.
Oh yeah,
And,
yeah. With the font.
Yep. Yo, the straight up maroon with
God, that is the
wheat
best
colors.
jersey I've ever seen in my entire life.
I'm
so
gonna pick
serious.
one up. I might pick
Such a
one up.
shame.
I've been trying to, dude. They're expensive now.
Yeah, because they're not a franchise. Shoot, that's right. Oh well. Anyways, those are all my thoughts on everything that has ever happened in the history of the world.
Yep.
And we thank you for that, Cole. Boom. All right. Unless anyone else has something to say, I think we can just
No, we
put a
should
nail
wrap
in it
up.
there. All right, cool. Thank you guys for tuning in. You know where to follow us. You know where to find us. Until next time, man, I'm Zach. We got Cole and Clay over there.
I'm Cody.
And Josh and Steven.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
Quincy and Jake. who's
And we
dead.
are Cheddar Pot.
Hey, shout out to Christina Applegate.
Huh? All right, end of episode.
Bye.